If you or a loved one are struggling with type 2 diabetes, you should visit the link in the description below. This clinically proven, drug-free program lowers blood sugar to a normal level and can completely reverse type 2 diabetes within just a few weeks. Here's today's video.
The question: how does exercise affect blood sugar levels in type 2 diabetics? Answer by Dennis O'Malley. Type 2 diabetes is too much insulin in the blood. Most MDs call it insulin resistance, which is ignorance. Lot of that going around. It usually is the result of inactive muscles and too many carbs. When we consume carbohydrates, they turn into glucose, the only fuel of our cells. Insulin is a highly reactive molecule that gets released into the blood by the pancreas once the brain gets the message that more glucose is in the blood. Cells cannot take up the glucose unless there is an electron exchange with insulin that opens the glucose receptors. If the cells are full, like gasoline tanks in our cars, there is no way to take in the glucose, but the insulin continues to circulate until it is neutralized by irritating the arteries and other organs. Arterial irritations lead to arterial sclerosis. It is true, heart disease follows type 2D. The numbers you quote don't seem right. Are you testing your blood several times a day? The high-impact exercise number result makes sense and supports my explanation above. You are burning the glucose, and it is why the number drops to 80. Soon you should start feeling hungry. You are doing the right thing, but if you are overweight, you might see illogical numbers for a while. Lose 10 pounds, like I did on my dentist's advice, and the type 2 will probably go away, with exercise, especially. Answer by Robert Rister. Exercise does odd things in diabetes. You can experience a surge upward in your blood sugar levels if you work out hard enough that your stress hormones kick in. I once climbed a 100-meter cliff, carrying a glucometer and glucose just in case. My sugars were 115 at the base, and 330 at the summit even though I didn't break out any glucose or candy bars on the way up. Why? I was scared. Fear and other forms of stress cause the adrenal glands to release cortisol, and cortisol cause the liver to release glucose. The same sort of thing can happen even on a brisk walk. On the other hand, when you do the kinds of exercise that break down muscle fiber, your muscles become temporarily very sensitive to insulin so they can import amino acids to make proteins and glucose to rebuild their supplies of glycogen. Glycogen is an energy source inside each muscle cell, enabling them to be powered without drawing extra glucose from your bloodstream, and the combination of glucose and water to make glycogen gives muscle its bulk. When your muscles are rebuilding after high-impact exercise, your sugars go down. It's possible to have both effects in the same session. Answer by Nathan Green. I'm not a doctor. Talk to a doctor about this, preferably one that works with diabetics. It's possible that cortisol is stimulating your hyperglycemia. How intense is your 45-minute walk? Are you on insulin injections? I'm not too surprised that your high-impact exercise lowers your blood sugar dramatically. I see the same thing. If your muscles are primed for glucose consumption, they'll consume it pretty rapidly. Once your exercise is done, they should be busy with glycogen replenishment, consuming even more glucose.